said, sometimes we don't want to hear certain things from certain people.
Yeah.
So my best friend may not want to hear that from me.
Yeah.
Or my sister or brothers may not want to hear that from me. And I just have to respect that and understand that.
Welcome to It's the Human Experience Podcast. Hosted by Hazel Brown, a healthcare leader, wife, mom, and career coach. If you're big on authenticity, personal development, perseverance, and transparency, you're in the right place. Get ready to be uplifted, inspired, and empowered as you become fearless in pursuit of the life you desire and deserve. Go ahead and subscribe. You don't want to miss out on these transparent stories and discussions that reveal highs, lows, aha moments, and nuggets that'll help you to grow and glow.
Hey, you are now tuned in to the It's the Human Experience podcast. I'm your host, Hazel Brown. Today I have Nihya on the podcast. We are going to dive into all the things to help you get unstuck, to help you realize that you too can go after your goals and make it happen. The only thing that ever holds you back is you, and we're going to prove that to you here on this episode. Hey, Nihya, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Listen, we jumped right into the episode.
Okay, I'm ready.
So the first thing I want to know is, who is Nihya?
Ooh, Nihya is a child of God first and foremost. I'm a wife to an amazing husband for 3 years.
Nice.
And of course, I'm a business owner, a restaurant owner here in McDonough.
Awesome. Listen, tell us about your business.
So I own a loaded baked potato restaurant in McDonough, Georgia, in the heart of near where the square is. And we do a whole bunch of different combinations of loaded baked potatoes. We have chicken, shrimp, steak. We have over 15 toppings. We have 5 cheeses, and it's just really fun just watching people what they create out of a potato. But we also have some that we put together for you just to make things easier.
Yeah, I've actually tried your baked potato, not only by coming to your open house, but sometimes I go on Instacart's like Uber Eats thingy,
yes,
and I'll order it that way. And definitely good. I tried the sweet potato one. That was good.
I love the sweet potato.
Your desserts are really good. I'm like, run me that sweet potato pie. It's good. The pound cake is really good. All the things that I secretly shouldn't be getting.
Right.
I'm like, let's run it through Uber Eats real quick. This is good.
I always say it's the perfect comfort food, from our food to the desserts, because it's just so comforting. It just makes you want to curl up in the bed, watch your favorite show, and just dive into the food. So that's my favorite part about it.
Absolutely. Listen. All right. So let's talk about your journey to becoming an entrepreneur. You said you were faith-centered.
Yes.
Like, what has the journey been like? What were the moments where you recognized that the only person that was stopping you was you?
Ooh, that's a loaded one. I think for me, I kind of always had the entrepreneur spirit since a young girl. I knew I was going to have some type of business or be some type of high ranking in some type of company. I just didn't know what. So I was never attached to like a particular thing. I was just kind of attached to the idea of business, the idea of sales, the idea of marketing. I just love that aspect of business. As far as my journey, it just started off like always searching for my next business. So I've had all of them: a photographer, lip gloss, everything that you can think of. It was like crossed my mind. I had pajamas at one point. So I just was always searching for that next thing, and then it landed me here. My husband and I started in 2022. That's when we first started the restaurant, January 1st, and we've just kind of been going there. He's definitely been a backbone as far as that journey and pushing me. Like, I've always had that confidence, but he's like, no, we're execution point now. Like, you had the confidence, but now we're going to execute together.
It's go time.
So I think at that point, that's when I was like, okay, this is my turning point as far as full-time entrepreneurship, and this is what it's going to provide for us for the rest of our lives. So
I love it. I think that when you talk about like the different things you've done, I want to go back there, because I think sometimes people look at people and they're like, man, like, I wish I just knew what I wanted to do when I grew up. I wish I just had it all figured out. Right. And I think that within the trying of things, you start to learn what you're good at, what you enjoy, what you don't. Like, how was that part of the journey for you?
Now when I look back, I always say it was practice. Yeah. So it was practice, building those websites helped me build my website today. Just figuring out what sells, what people like, what people need to sell something, because it's all the same.
Yeah.
Whether it's in food, whether it's online, like marketing is marketing. You can market a little bit differently depending on your industry, but for the main part, you're just trying to sell something. Yeah. So I think for me, it was just like practice. And I knew that it was practice. I knew that this lip gloss brand that I named off of my amazing niece, and we joke about it today, was practice. Like labeling, building a brand was all practice for my brand today.
Yeah.
Just maneuvering orders, that's something that people get caught up a lot. And even with the restaurant industry, a lot of people, you can make something good. You can make a good dish at home, but can you make it 100 times a day?
Yeah.
Can you bulk make it? Can you teach someone else to make it?
Yeah.
And sometimes people don't think of those steps. So those small businesses that you start in the beginning helps you practice and helps you understand the steps that you don't think of when you're starting out. So no, 9 times out of 10, a lot of business owners will tell you, your first thing's not going to work, or it's not going to work within the X amount of time period. It takes a long time to realize what works for you and where you're going.
Yeah. I love that. I love that, speaking really about building that muscle.
Yeah.
And realizing that muscle needs to be strong no matter where you go.
Right.
And if you learn to perfect it where you're at, then your next state and where he takes you, you'll be prepared for it. Yes. I think it's funny because I just had a conversation recently with one of my family members around school and the importance of school or lack thereof.
Okay.
And so the conversation was about like, a lot of the things we learn in school, and as far as high school, elementary school, middle school, are not necessarily things that we take with us today.
Right.
And I'm an advocate for school. So I'm like, actually, I feel like you learn a lot in school.
Yeah.
And what you learn in school is that even if it's boring, you keep going.
Yes.
Even if it's hard, you figure out how to master it so that you could actually become a finisher.
Right.
You realize that even if you feel like it's not applicable to anything you're going to do in the everyday world, you try to figure out what you can take from it, learn from it, and apply it to what you need to. And I think it's just the muscle of believing in yourself, not giving up on yourself, and learning how to master things even when it seems difficult at the beginning.
Right. Like, I feel like school for me was like to exercise my brain.
Yeah.
Not necessarily like that particular topic or that particular course, but it was just kind of like, how far are you going to push your brain to figure it out or to kind of listen and fight through the pain sometimes, especially in college and all those hard courses. And I just remember taking a rock classes. I'm like, when am I going to need rocks in life? When? But it was just kind of staying still in something that you're uncomfortable in and still pushing through and finishing. And I even took that class twice, and my whole family used to laugh. I had like a rock case of like a whole bunch of rocks, and they're like, Nihya, come get your rocks. So, but looking back, it was just like being uncomfortable and doing something that you don't want to do. You may not need, but it exercised my brain to be in a place where I don't want to be in, and I have to sit in and stay in. And I think for me, even in high school, one of my favorite courses was like debate and stuff like that. And I had to fight against something that I didn't believe in, but I had to fight as if I believed in it.
Right.
And that changed my brain, like, for the rest of my life. It made me be, like, always that devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Like, to see where other people are coming from, because you never know. Or you never know why they believe or, what they've been through. So it just changed my whole way of thinking ever since that class in junior year. And I'm sure that teacher, Mr. Martinez, don't even know the impact it had on my life. But it's like, I can fight for people even if I don't believe in them. And that's something very hard for some people to do. So it just definitely structures your brain a little bit differently in school, especially when you don't think you need it. Like you said, school advocate, I am one, even though I didn't finish. But it definitely made me think about things or put me in places and spaces that I didn't know I needed today.
Yeah. And I think what you did was take from it what you need, and then you're able to use that to build.
Right.
I think in terms of pivoting, people don't recognize that sometimes you start something and you're supposed to take a certain set of skill set from it. Sometimes you need to finish it, and sometimes you need to pivot because you got what you need.
Right.
And it sounds like everything that you needed to become a restaurant owner, to become a business owner, or whatever else is in your future, right? You have those skills in terms of being able to understand how to look at different perspectives. Right. Being a business owner, you meet all sorts of energies and people, and you really have to be able to put yourself in their shoes, have empathy, and without those skills that you developed, it'd be like, what is wrong with this person? Like, I cannot. And in those situations, you're like, okay, I got this. Right. I can figure this out.
That's how you feel.
Maybe they're going through something.
It's beyond me. It's bigger than me. But yes, it definitely shapes you, because entrepreneurship or any type of business, I think, on behalf of all of us, it's more than just that idea of what you're selling. Like, it's way beyond that. Like, the behind the scenes, you sign up for jobs. This is not what I signed up for. Like, I did not sign up for this part. Even with my restaurant, I did not know how to cook. And I always tell that story. Like, I was not in the kitchen chefing it up. I did not think I would own a restaurant growing up. But of course, that was in God's plans for me. But it pushed me, it forced me, but I knew all the other side of business, and that's the part that I fell in love with. So luckily my husband loves the kitchen part, so we were able to combine and conquer on that end. But as far as outside looking in, the restaurant, that was not in my plan at all.
Yeah, I love that, like trusting God to
Yeah.
help him guide you and use the skills that you're strong in.
Yes.
And then making sure that the areas that other people that you trust, when they're strong in those areas, y'all combine
Right.
and make it happen. I think that that's a word, because I think many times we are taught to be independent, especially as women, and everything we have to do. But the reality is, if you trust people and they have strong skills,
Yeah, let them do
emphasis on trust people, and they have strong skills. You know, use their skills, they use your skills, and y'all collaborate and y'all can make magic happen.
that. Right.
So I
Yes.
love that. You're like, like that's not my area, but
At
I got
all.
you in these other areas.
And he's the same way. He's like, yeah, I don't need to know any of that. She got it. I trust her.
Yeah.
You know, she's speaking Spanish. And in the kitchen, I'm like, babe, you're speaking Spanish. So we just let each other kind of thrive in our areas. And I think that's what works for us. But
love
of course,
it.
everybody, you have to find what works for you.
Absolutely. Like, what were some of your aha moments on the journey as it relates to, not as it realized, but what were some of your aha moments on the journey as it relates to thinking that business and life is supposed to be a certain way, and then recognizing that actually that's just how it is and it's
Yeah.
not how I thought it was?
I think for me, one of the biggest aha in my journey was just navigating people and how much you need people in a business and the different personalities and just how hard it is to find good people and to keep good people.
Yeah.
I think that's been my biggest, like, okay, I'm going to try this with the next person, okay? Or I'm going to do this better for my employees or my staff, or this is what I need to do. So I think my biggest aha moments have been like with staff and hiring and employees and just that side of things. As far as even my personal growth, like, you know, pulling back on maybe what I feel is best or what I feel is best for the business. If my employees speak up and they want something, then I have to let them have it, because without them, you know, I can't take the vacations and, you know, go to bed and sleep in and do all the things. So it's just like I need them just as much as they may need me. If not, I need them more.
Right.
So I think that's my biggest aha in the journey, and just kind of like new findings and new realizations along the way. It's just the biggest kind of search in my journey I've come across.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I'm sure that's something that even in your personal journey as it relates to boundaries is what it sounds like you're talking about, is learning that, you know, you have certain boundaries in terms of the values and the skill set that you need in your business, while at the same time you have to be a little bit flexible in terms of meeting them where they're at once you realize that you can trust them and they have the skills and the values that are aligned. It's like, okay, these are my people. Let me try to back up and see what I can do to keep these people. And I feel like that's such a parallel, like in friendships and in relationships and in life, because everyone's different, right?
Yes.
And if they meet your value system as it relates to trust, skill set, and just the way that they love and you love them, it's like you have to meet them in the middle sometimes.
Exactly.
What kind of boundaries have you had to create in your life really to focus on peace while you're building?
Boundaries. Not being so accessible. I think for me, I'm definitely that person that's like, I'm just one phone call away, whatever you need, no questions asked, no judgment. I think I serve that place in a lot of people in my life, and I love it, but it's just sometimes it's like, especially getting married, I had to learn to not be so accessible. I had to learn to listen more. That's been a big boundary for me. Just kind of listen, not offering my feedback so much, you know, not really always having a response, because it's not always needed and necessary. So I think, and then doing what makes me happy and what fills my cup up may not look the same for the next person, so you may not understand it. So, you know, if I say, for an example, I need a massage every month, you know, you might feel like that's not needed to fill a cup. You need to go to church, or you need to go, you know, everybody has their different things, or I need to go get your hair done, whatever it is. But I had to focus on like, okay, now what serves you? What fills your cup? You know, everybody has something different, and it doesn't have to be justifiable to other people. And I think that leads into my other one is like explaining myself and justifying things. I don't partake in anymore. I always say now, like the only person I owe an explanation to is my husband.
Yeah.
So other than that, you can tell me the sky is red, and I'm just gonna be like,
yeah. I love that. I love that people don't have access to your opinion. I don't know if that is like how, like that's how I took it, because I feel like that is so important.
Yes,
because
it's undeserving. Like,
yes, yeah, because I feel like when you're becoming and you're on your personal journey and you're naturally the kind of person that just wants to pour, someone comes to you and they're just venting and you're like, oh, I think you should do this, and then they don't do it, and now you're like, why didn't they do that? They should have listened. Like, it's upside down. It's like, wait, hold up, we just gonna draw the boundary here.
Exactly.
You don't even have access to my opinion, because with that I'm able to just let you do whatever you want to do, and I'm able to hold on to my peace. I love that. I love that. That's like a different level of access. And I think it's really important. And I feel like it's a trend. Like we've had a lot of conversations on the podcast really about that. Learning how when people are coming to you really saying, are you coming to me to vent, or do you want my feedback? Because people are receptive to it better when they actually want your feedback.
Exactly.
And then recognizing we all want different things in our lives. So our opinion is not something that needs to be projected half the times, because the reality is it's our opinion. And we deserve to live the life we want to live. I love that.
And I think for me, a lot of my opinions are justified like by experience. So I'm not one of those people to tell you something that is like I haven't been through, or like secondhandly been through. Like, I'm not gonna just one time I heard. Like, that's not really how I offer my opinion. But I am a great ear. I'm always a shoulder to cry on. But I think I've come into this space where some people aren't ready to hear this level of advice or level of experience. You know, you have to get there. And like you said, sometimes we don't want to hear certain things from certain people. So my best friend may not want to hear that from me. Or my sister or brothers may not want to hear that from me. And I just have to respect that and understand that. But to better my piece is like, I knew you shouldn't have did that. Or I told you you need to go this way. Like, we're just going to X all this out.
Exactly. Because now you're wrapped up in it. You're like, I'm just going to let it happen.
And you'll get there one day, or that when you want that advice, how to ask it from me. So I'm just going to wait for that for you.
Something I want to dive in that's kind of along the lines of what we're talking about is when you're face-centered and you're heart-centered. What you just talked about is like learning not to intercede in God's work, right? Because that's something that I had to develop a muscle in. Like, I want to jump in and be saving grace. And it's like, girl, you are not God. Like, how dare you let that person learn that lesson? I went through
that for years. Like, I think for me, like, I was just always that angel, like, in life growing up, or I was just always that younger, wise girl and all the things. And I was just so like, God put this person in my life for me to save, or God wants me to help this person. Like, I was just so quick to help, save, want to be that person that's different from everybody in your life. Like, I was always wanting to be that person. So I had to learn that, like, God's like, sometimes you just need to plant a seed, Nihya, or put a little water on it, Nihya, and that's it. Walk away. Like, I didn't put you there to go with the mile-long journey. Like, I literally just put you there to just say okay, or just water it, or and that's it.
Pull out a weed and keep it moving.
Keep it moving. So I had to kind of learn discernment a little bit, and kind of learn just, when it's necessary and when it's not. And I think I'm slowly stepping into that mastering of it, because I just find myself just pulling back so much. And I'm just kind of like,
And it feels good. I think that one thing that I've recognized on the journey is sometimes we tell ourselves we're needed, right? We feel like, oh my goodness, like, it's not going to happen if we're not the ones to make it happen.
Exactly.
And then when you pull yourself back, you recognize, like, I didn't need to put all that pressure on myself. Like, it wasn't even something that I had to do. And to your point of when you create those boundaries, people will come to you when you need them, as opposed to you being so accessible for whatever anyone needs. And then you're not able to do you. You're not able to pour into you. You're not able to create the life that makes sense to you. So I love that awareness. From that, what would you say your superpower is now?
I think it's it allowed me to grow and for others to see my growth. And I think my superpower is just kind of just also being aware. I think for the most part, it's just definitely the power of awareness of what's going on. The power of my heart, kind of, when you let your heart out so much, you just lose it. Like, it's kind of hard to keep it secure, keep it locked up in that box. Because, I'm so invested to whereas if you break my heart, now I'm all over the place. Like, my whole life is just in shambles. So I had to learn that I have to protect it, especially with the type of person and character I am. So I think my superpower definitely came from those boundaries because it's needed.
Yeah, I love that. I'm going to go into one of the questions. Can you share a time where you felt completely stuck? What changed for you to move forward? And how did that moment shape the way you approach challenges?
A particular example just pops up in my brain, so I guess I have to share it. I think for my business, or I think any business, you are going to fall in and out of love with it. So I think for me, like, I just went through a period of falling out of love with my business, and I was just stuck, confused, didn't know what to do. So I had to pivot, and I had to make some hard changes. And I didn't know what the outcome was going to be at the end, but I went through it, and the outcome made me fall back in love with it, like, the first day, and even probably more. So I was able to fall back in love with the business. But I think for me, like, that particular experience that I can't really dive into today, definitely changed how I am as a businesswoman, how I view business, how I handle business, and all the things. So I think that
I love that example. I love that example so much because it applies to everything.
Yeah.
It's your relationship with your business, with your career, your mate, your friendships, all of it. Like, you are going to fall out of love with things.
Yeah, you're going to fall in and out of love with most things, especially extended period of things. So like you said, a job for 10 years, a relationship for 10 years, many long marriage people, advice is you're going to fall in and out of love, but just make sure you remember why you started. And that's what gets you through it. And I think that's one of my favorite things. And I never thought I would go through it with my business because it's kind of like,
it's a relationship.
Yeah, it's a relationship.
It gets kind of dry sometimes. You got to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, I didn't think I was going to do it, but now I'm just like so happy I went through that because I think that experience is just going to carry me for the next 5 years in my business.
It's like, oh, I know what to do now.
Yeah, I know
this has happened before.
Yeah.
I love it. And I think that for me, the reason why I mentioned how it applies to everything, because in career, that's happened. Yeah. With my relationship, that's happened. In friendships, that happened. Yeah. Even with my husband recently, like earlier this year, I was like, I don't know. We've been together for 22 years.
Wow.
And I was like, I don't know. I just don't think he gets me anymore.
Yeah.
And then my first reaction was just like, it's very clear he doesn't get me anymore. I don't think I could do this. And then I started saying, Hazel, well, you actually like him. You want to get old with him.
Yeah.
You don't like many people.
Yeah.
So why is that your response to it, homegirl? Right. Like, build a muscle, learn how to communicate. You can do hard things. And like, we started talking and I'm like, I love this man. And I'm thinking to myself, you a fool. Like, you are not as personally developed as you thought you were, because why was your answer to out? So I love the answer you gave, because it's like just going back, seeing what you love, what you don't love, pulling the things you love through, the things that are necessary, taking that too, but just changing it up a little bit, because maybe you don't have to throw the whole thing out. Right. Maybe you could just change it up a little bit.
Because we change so fast as people in your marriage and friendships and business. Like, I've changed just so much from that first day I've started. And it's just so crazy for me. Like, I think I surprised myself. And I think even sometimes I'm just even overwhelmed with myself.
Yeah.
Like, so how can I not expect other people to, to experience that or to see that, I have childhood friendships, and I'm just like, we was just playing at the park together. How can you see me as this, big businesswoman, type of environment, or cousins or just aunts that's been around? And it's just like hard to watch that change from some people, especially if you're a rapid changer. And I feel like that's who I am. Like, my life changes complete 360 in the matter of a year most of the time, every year since I've been out the house. So I think it's hard for people to swallow that change. And even in a relationship, you changing. So it's like do you understand me as this businesswoman
Yeah.
versus this girl who is at a 9 to 5? Like,
Yeah.
that's two different people.
Yeah.
And even for my husband, he's grown so much as a businessman. He like, when we first started, he would always say, I'm not an entrepreneur. And I'm like, yes, you are. He's like, no, I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm like, that's what this role is.
Yeah.
We own our own business, and
He's
that's
like,
how
I'm
we
a
live.
chef.
He's like, no, I just so happen to own it. Like, but now he'll say it, like, you know, I'm a restaurant owner, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a business owner, and he carries that so well. And I'm just like, love that for you. I love that for you.
Like,
But
the glow up.
but it's like I had to watch him change, and it's like accepting that change. You know, sometimes even with business, a lot of people out here talk about their partners not being super invested in the entrepreneur life, and it is something different and just uncomfortable sometimes because it's just a different lifestyle.
Completely different lifestyle.
So I'm happy that we do it together, but I just couldn't imagine, like, as far as like being on different pages and watching someone change in an entrepreneur spirit, and you have one person working a job, like how those lives mesh.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that's the part that I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny you share that because that's the muscle I had to build in my relationship because my husband's a 9 to 5er.
Okay.
And at one point I was a 9 to 5er and an entrepreneur.
Okay.
And then I made a shift to where like, no, I'm just an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, but you got all them degrees, you got all that experience. What do you mean?
Yeah.
And then trying to help him understand this entrepreneurial world, like it's different.
Yeah.
It's like embracing your visionary. It's really embracing the gifts God gave you and
faith.
seeing it. It's all faith,
All
right?
faith.
And everything comes to fruition once you trust it. You
Yeah.
work the muscle. You do what he tells you to do. And it's like, are you over there in fantasy land? Because like what's going on? Yeah. But to your point of like values and trust that we talked about through the conversation, like he knows his wife. Mm-hmm. He knows that I wouldn't be doing anything that I didn't believe in, and he believes in me. So once I started opening up and kind of telling him some of the things that were in my brain, he can see it, right? Mm-hmm. But before I was kind of like,
you're not gonna understand.
Like, you're not gonna understand. Like, I'm not explaining it to you. Like, we just don't get each other. Yeah. And it's like, well, help him get you. And once I did, like, he'll send me events. Like, babe, cool. You should go to this podcast event. Like, babe, you should go to this. And I'm like, girl, like, what in the world? So I love that you mentioned that because it really takes conversation, even in the feeling stuck in whatever situation it is. Just open your mouth and talk, whether it's your employer, within your business, your relationship, your friendship. Yeah. Communication really is a key to many things.
Yeah, and you sometimes have to change your surroundings.
Yeah,
you know?
For sure.
You become an entrepreneur, you might have to get those entrepreneur friends.
Yes, absolutely. They get you so that you don't feel stuck and alone.
Yeah, you might have to change, you know, just like I'm not a mommy yet, but you hear all the moms saying they need mom friends and all those things. So it's definitely, people don't understand a lot of your experiences are relatable. It's just different.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And I love that you talk about like creating a circle, right? Getting those mom friends, getting those entrepreneur friends, and then back to values and trust, getting the ones that you know have the same values as you that you can trust, because that definitely changes things. Yes. I know for me, like not only just like creating events myself, but also recognizing that when you're creating circles as it relates to like the personal people around you, the values have to exist. Yeah. And you have to make sure that people don't love you because everybody else loves you. Yeah. And that's like a whole new thing, like being an entrepreneur that you didn't realize you had to navigate. Right. It's like, wait, do they like me because of me, or do they like me because of what I'm doing? Yeah. And I think it's just so important that like people like recognize that becomes a thing.
Yeah. It's just a lot of confusion. Yeah. You just don't know what to believe anymore. Yeah. You don't know what to take. You don't know what to leave. You don't know.
Yeah, it is. It is definitely. It's funny. We talked about an episode. It's like, what am I supposed to do with this? Like, why did you put this person in my circle? Yeah. Like, am I supposed to, or is this a divine connection? Yeah. Or to your point, do I just need to throw a little bit of water on it and keep moving? And that part does become confused. Yeah. It's like, God, what do you want me to do with this?
Because I want to do it. I really do, but I just don't know.
Yeah, like, this can't be that. Yeah. Like, I completely get that sentiment and that feeling. I'm going to go into another question. When you felt overwhelmed by your goals and the weight of the expectation for kind of knowing that God chose you for what it is that you're doing, how have you recalibrated your approach so that you could stay aligned and true to your purpose?
I always say, for me, I have to recenter, like, because it's like I know what I'm here to do. I know, like, my calling. I'm very aware of who I am as a person, who I love to be. So when I find myself not being that, I recenter.
Yeah.
You know, I do all the things that makes me recenter. I step away, I pull back, I go in my dungeons and and then
like,
just
hide out.
yeah, and just make a grand entrance. But it's just so instant when I realize go on vacation or something. I love tropical vacations to where it's just like me and the skies and the water, and it just helps me recenter with God. Like I want to read, I want to like pray, I want to sing gospel songs for hours.
Yeah.
Like those are the things that recenter me. So when I feel overwhelmed, I know that that's what I need to do to get it back right. So I don't run from it. So, you know, the moment I feel that next week or then 2 weeks, because it affects everybody around me and I've watched it. So now I don't even play with it. I'm like, if I'm not feeling that person, they know.
Yeah.
I'll be right back and you'll get her. But it can't be gone for too long because then people think you're changing or they think that's not who you are anymore. So I also learned the value in that to, you know, protect other people's image of me. I'm still a human, but I have to know that it's my job to step away, to recenter and to refill my cup and not theirs, you know, to baby me or pull me through. It's not their responsibility. It's no one's but yourselves. So I think now my husband supports that as well too, because again, it affects everybody. It affects the business for sure. It affects the staff. It affects everything, the customers. It affects everything around me, and it's too much for me to not be whole. So if that's what it takes for me to be whole and be under control, then it's worth every penny.
Oh my God, I love that so much. It's like BRB.
Yeah, literally.
And it's so needed. And I think that that's like a muscle that a lot of people don't realize. You know, we play a little bit of trivia at the end, you'll see. But one of the things is people don't realize that emotional intelligence is a big indicator in someone's success. So if you feel within you that you're not yourself, that shows your emotional intelligence and self-awareness that, hey, I'm not showing up as Lanaya. I need to do something different, recenter, recalibrate, get with God, and make sure that the person that I'm showing up as is 100% me so that I can make the right decisions. And so that BRB is needed, where some people will look at that as like, well, why are you separating yourself?
Yeah, and it's usually a quick couple days, nothing ever more than a week, because, I don't let it get that far.
Yeah.
You know, and it looks different for everybody, so I also don't want to make it seem like, you know, you need some type of... But I'm also blessed to have the funds and the resources that I have to know that that's what works for me. Like, God provided that part, too, because obviously He knows what works. You know, He put that in me, so He knows, like, you know, what it is that I need, and I know that I have the resources to do that, so I'm not running from it. So it looks different for everybody. Like I've seen, you know, on TikTok, people taking walks, you know, in a park, in a random park, or just kind of being with yourself and changing your scenery is usually all it takes. So it can be very small or very big, but everybody is different. And that's the part that you have to learn yourself. So these are my experiences and what works for me today. And it could change. It wasn't always like that. But, you know, in this season that I am, that's what it is. So.
Yeah. I love that. I feel like when I was a 9-to-5er, I used to intentionally put in PTO.
Yeah, on a regular basis.
On a regular basis. Like I knew when I was going to need to tap out.
A burnout. Yeah, it's burnout.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's like a burnout. Like I feel like we all get burnout.
Yeah. Exactly. So it'd be like 10 weeks. And I'm like, okay, let's go ahead and plug in a little Friday and Monday here. And then it's like, okay, let's see, like, okay, April, that really gets real hectic. So let me go ahead and just like plug in a couple, 3 days here.
You're looking out for your future self.
For real. Because there's trends. Yeah. We all go through things where we know like, this time it typically gets a little too much. I'm going to need a break.
If I know I have a lot of work coming up or busy schedule that following weekend. I already know.
We're doing something.
Let me pencil in myself.
Exactly. I need time with me. And I feel like same thing, like midweek, you know, you could have a CEO day to where you're like, okay, Wednesday afternoons is nothing because I need to be able to reset for Thursday and Friday. I don't want to go into Thursday and Friday like, I can't do it.
And that's why I think people look at me and they're like, oh, you know, how do you do it? Like, how do you do it all? Like, you're always working, you're always doing this. And I'm like, because y'all don't see the times where I'm just like, like, you don't see that part. So just also understand that those parts are definitely there. And I know that it's needed to keep me going.
Yeah. And I think that really leads into when you're working in your purpose.
Yeah.
I think to other people, it looks like, oh my God, you're always working. But when you're working within your purpose, it does not feel like you're working. It feels like, yes, God, you trust me with this ball. This is my thing. We're
Like
going to make
me?
it go. We going to the Super Bowl with this. And it's like, other people are like, how do you do it? And it's like, it's not hard. These are my gifts I'm using.
And I feel for me, I think I look at a lot of my life as honored. Like, I am so honored to be in the position that I am. Like, I am so, like, humble and grateful, like, that it's me. Like, I was chosen for this versus it's a job or that, you know, it's just so dreading. So I'm just like, I'm just so humbly honored that, and I still to this day just be like, I do this, I did this, or I built this, or
he trusts me with this.
Yeah, this is what's going on. Like, am I crazy? Like,
I love that level of gratitude.
Yeah.
And I think we talk about that in the podcast a lot too, like how important gratitude is. Because if you're not happy where you are now, when you get to that goal or that next thing, you're not going to be happy either. Because you got to learn how to love the life you already have in order for you to love whatever it is that you think is next.
Right.
Because next is not the answer.
At all.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I love that. What is one thing that you would share with your younger self, maybe your 17-year-old self, if you could tell her anything? You're like, what we gonna tell her?
Right. You know what's best for you. And it's like, a lot of times I think I second guess myself, but I still went with my gut and it worked out. So I think I would tell myself, like, just building on that confidence. Like, you know what's best for you. Like, you know what is needed, especially even at that age. Like, I know it sounds young, but it's like, yeah, you know what's best for you.
Yeah. We always, our compass is inside.
Yeah. So I think that's what I would tell my doubtly self.
Yeah, I love that. I love that, allowing yourself to recognize that what you are thinking needs to happen is really what should happen from like a young age. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So before we end the episode, I definitely want to make sure we spend some time allowing the listeners to follow you online and all things. So where can the listeners find you?
On Instagram, it is Nihya, NIH_YA. On TikTok, it's my full name, so LANIHYAODOM. Yeah, it's mainly where Instagram and TikTok.
Listen, y'all go follow Lanaya. Make sure that you are following her, plugged into what's next, because we know that you're forever evolving. And Lanaya next year is going to be an elevated version of Lanaya this year. And it's important that you go on the journey together. Like, that's what the podcast is all about.
Big things coming. I'm so excited. So yes, definitely a lot to come.
Awesome. I'm so here for it. And you haven't come to workplace therapy events, but you came to my Power Table event that I did. And so, shameless plug, I would love for you to tell the people like what even that small experience is like.
It was my first stepping out experience, and it was great. I loved it. I love every part of it. I love I even went to one of the girls I met Pilates class, and that was a first experience. So it's just a lot of firsts. I'm in a season of just trying new things, so I was able to meet people and try new things over there as well too. So
nice, awesome. I think that's what I love about my events, though. When I kind of look at other people in terms of like case studies and kind of thinking, the other day I was thinking to myself, like, what do people get like after they come to your events? And I'm like, big or small, I always connect people to who they need. And then I recognize, like, when I see like what people are doing with other people, it's like everybody gets introduced to somebody that plays a role in their life. And I'm like, oh, like maybe I'm the connector.
No, seriously, I look forward to her next one. I've been traveling for the last couple of weeks, so I'm definitely going to make it to her next one next weekend. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm so excited. So we're going to go ahead and go into trivia.
Yay.
Listen, if this is your first time listening to the podcast, make sure that you're subscribed. Make sure you're following us. Make sure that you don't miss out on future episodes, and make sure you're betting on yourself most importantly. Listen, keep showing up for yourself, going after your goals, and betting on you.